Hey, what's up, Vox and Hops heads? I'm Matt, the vocals of Cryptopsy, and you're listening to my podcast, Vox and Hops, where I sit down with fellow metal musicians to talk about their lives, music, and craft beer. Today's episode is a very special episode. I've been working on this for quite a while now. Today's episode is the Vox and Hops Spotlight on Devastation on the Nation 2020. Super proud to be one of the official sponsors of Devastation on the Nation, featuring Rotting Christ, Borknagar, Wolfheart, Abigail Williams, and Imperial Triumphant. This tour is less than 2 months away. Today on the podcast, I am sitting down with the booker, the organizer, the man behind Devastation on the Nation, Mr. Daniel DeFonce. I had a great chat with Daniel last year where we discussed the creation of Devastation of the Nation, but I wanted to go further. I wanted to go exactly into how this tour's lineup came to fruition, how he put these bands together, what it's like constructing the tour. I wanted to go through band by band, what we can expect. If you're planning on coming to Devastation on the Nation, what your experience would be like. So trust me, Devastation on the Nation, which is brought to you by Continental Touring, Metal Festival Tours, and the Vox and Hops podcast, are super proud to bring you this year's lineup. If you don't have your tickets, you absolutely should go out there and pick them up. Some of these shows have sold out. Some of them are close to selling out. If you don't have your tickets, you should go pick them up via the link in the description of this podcast, or you could simply go to metalfestivaltours.com. Devastation on the Nation 2020 is a party that you do not want to miss.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Flo Mounier from Cryptopsy and Ultimas, and you are listening to Vox and Hops.
That's right, Flo. Thank you so much for doing that for me. In case you missed it, Mr. Flo Mooney, the Cryptopsy drummer, was my 100th guest on Vox and Hops. You should go check that out if you haven't listened to that one. On today's podcast, I am with Dan DeFonce, the man behind Devastation on the Nation. This is Vox and Hops Spotlight on Devastation on the Nation, episode 107.
I warn you, what you are about to hear is very disturbing indeed.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Today, I'm with Daniel DeFonce from Metal Festival Tours and Continental Touring, the man behind Devastation on the Nation. And this is Vox and Hops Spotlight on Devastation on the Nation 2020. We're going to take a look at a whole bunch of stuff concerning Devastation on the Nation. I'm super stoked to be one of the sponsors this year. I've been having a lot of fun with it. How are you, Dan? Super good to be back with you.
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me again and being part of the tour.
Of course. Yes, it was a no-brainer. Devastation on the Nation, when Cryptopsy headlined it, was one of my favorite U.S. tour experiences. We had such a great time. I've always been a fan. Last year's lineup was incredible. The year before that was even, I loved even more with Aborted headlining. You guys have just been on a roll. How do you go from year to year trying to top yourself? What is like the framework to accomplish that?
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Like, so this year we were obviously, I don't know, a lot of people were like, are you going to go like back to like doing like a death metal lineup, you know, obviously. And we tried. I mean, I looked into like Black Dahlia Murder, Fetus, some of those, but it just wasn't the right time frame for them. They're doing some stuff later on in the year, so it was just like, so those were like out of the question. So we're like going down the list, like who could work. And then Stefan, you know, Continental, he brought up Rotting Christ. And so we started building off of that, you know, contacted them and see if they were interested in it. And they were into it all. And, you know, we talked, you know, details, specifics, and worked it all out. And then we kind of just built it from there. So like once we got like Rotting Christ, then we were like, I wanted like Abigail Williams on it. His new record, you know, came out, and then Imperial Triumphant, I picked them up not long ago, so I was really wanting to put them on something awesome, and it just worked out. Yeah, went from there.
You mentioned that people, I was like, we're like, I wanted to go back to being a death metal tour.
Yeah.
It was built as a death metal package.
Yeah.
And then last year you had a lot more black metal on it.
Yeah, it was, I guess, yeah, I mean, it was definitely black metal. I mean, a little bit of death metal in there, but like, yeah, I mean, last year it just worked out that way. It was kind of weird how last year worked out because Dark Funeral was supposed to do a Dimmu Borgir tour. And if that did happen, then Devastation wouldn't have been able to hit like certain markets, like cities, like
because of exclusivity clauses.
Because the demo tour, the demo tour was only like 12 shows. It was like 11 shows or so, 12 shows. So, and that was like our only option. Like we had no other options for bands, so it was like, okay, we could just roll with this, right? And then all of a sudden, Dimmu canceled, so we were able to get Dark Funeral for the whole thing. So anyway, I mean, a lot of people this year just wanted death metal. I don't know, everyone's was like, but I mean, it turned out like when we announced the lineup, everyone was like, holy shit. Especially with like bringing Borknagar back, since it's been 20 years.
It's crazy how that can happen. How such a huge international band, so popular over here.
I don't get it.
For some reason, can't come here in 20 years. It's crazy. I'm gonna ask them when I sit down with them. I have to know the answers to this question.
Too. Like, why didn't you come here? The last tour they did here was with Emperor, which is sick, in 1999.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, I don't know why it took this long. Come back.
Tell me about like you being a tour organizer. Yeah. Do you eat flack from the fans when the package isn't what they want, and how you feel about that?
I guess sometimes. I mean, I'm gonna.
We're about to drink some beers, yeah. Let's start. Tell me what you brought. What are you drinking on your side? You got the Convict Hill.
Convict Hill. It's by what is it? Independence Brewing out of Austin, where I live. It's an oatmeal stout. I was feeling something dark.
Oh, good for you. When in doubt, one more stout.
Yeah. So, I mean, I read everyone's comments. I mean, this year there was some that were like kind of upset that it wasn't like death metal, but I mean, majority was all positive. I was really happy about it.
It's hard to please everyone.
It is, and I feel like, I mean, even last year, definitely majority of people were pleased with it. I mean, the tour did so well. Hoping for the same this year. I think it'll be around the same for the most part. It's just the only thing I'm concerned about is the time frame that it's in, because it's a busy time of the year, March, April, and this was the only time that it could work for Rotting Christ. So
you really wanted to have them. So
so we're like, all right, we'll compromise. But it's like I've had it, it's always been like May, June, which I always thought was a good time frame.
It's good, kids finishing school.
Exactly.
They want to rebel a little bit, go to a death metal concert.
So hopefully next year we can bring it back to May, June again.
On my side over here, I am drinking a very special brew. It is the Jericho Vermont Double Dry Hopped India Pale Ale from Sir John Brewing Company. This is a brand new thing up here in Montreal. I'm super stoked about it. It is a Citra, Mosaic, Columbus, and Simcoe hopped brew. Let's see what it's got. This is really on everyone's radar up here.
Is it? Let me know how it is.
I love my craft beer, you know that.
Oh, I know.
It's pours out nice and hazy. Nice little white head. It smells like just perfectness. It's good.
Is it a head?
Smooth.
Yeah.
It's juicy, a little bit dank. It collects at 6.6%. If it was a little bit more metal, it would have that extra 0.06 in it.
I know.
It's really good. Cheers to Sir John. I'm a huge fan, and I will keep supporting you guys for sure. Talk me through what you want this experience to be for people coming to your shows. When you put together a package, you must have like a whole vision in mind. You had Rotting Christ, so you knew that there had to be a bit of black metal in it.
Yeah.
So Abigail Williams was an easy fit. Imperial Triumphant are strange, dark, have elements of black metal in them. Where does Borknagar fit in, and how did that piece come into this puzzle?
Rotting Christ, we were thinking for that spot where Borknagar is, at first we were thinking a more black metal band or death metal. We were thinking like something like a band like 1349 or like maybe a band like Goatwhore. Those were two ideas. 1349 wasn't available. Goatwhore was, and then Stefan brought up the idea of Borknagar. And I've always heard of Borknagar, but I never really knew them that well, and I'll be honest. Because maybe it's probably because, they haven't been here in 20 years. So when Stefan brought up Borknagar, I started looking into them. Then I started asking around to like some friends and stuff that would know more. And everyone was like, if you can get Borknagar, get Borknagar. Put them on the tour. So anyway, it kind of just, and also Rotting Christ wanted more of like a melodic band on the tour underneath them. Like, I don't know. That's just like one thing they mentioned. They weren't against a band like 1349. If 1349 was able to do it, we probably would have had them. But after they were out of the picture, that's when they were like, hey, can you find something more melodic? So that's when Stefan was like, hey, check in the Borknagar. So that came together, and then we were like, let's put Wolfheart as the middle band, which they're great. Band's fantastic. And it all just came together. We made it 5 bands instead of 6.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, I was like, me and Bryce, Bryce, Lucian.
Shout out to Bryce.
Yeah, he was just, I was just like, man, I don't really want to put a 6 band on. We had an idea for an opener, like a 6 band, and I was like, I don't know, should we do it? And he's like, you know what? No. And, he's the tour manager, so he's like, I'd rather have it 5 bands, make my life easier. And I'm like, I think it's just strong. It's perfect how it is. I think.
I think it's absolutely amazing. No one's going to get fed up going to the show. Summer Slaughter, I don't know. Shout out to Summer Slaughter's tour manager, Donnie Hill, for sitting through a whole fucking day of 8 bands plus locals sometimes.
I know.
It's a marathon.
It's
it's completely unrelenting. It's like Vans, except shorter. Just as brutal. I think it's unnecessary. Why do you think promoters do that? What would have been, you back in the day would have put more bands? Why, as you've gotten older, have you put less?
I don't know, like years ago it was like the trend, I felt like. It was like the thing. Like I was, even when I was putting together just like regular tours, not Devastation, not a branded type of tour, but like just regular tours, we were doing like 5-6 band tour packages for like a few years. And then it got to that point, I think it was just promoters being like, all right, stop.
It's just brutal. Where do we put the equipment?
Yeah.
I
mean, that was
how
also
can we
one thing too.
The buyouts for everyone? It adds up like crazy. The towels.
I mean, everyone, the towels, the water. You don't need more cases of water. It was just, then it was just like, and then, I don't know, I got older. I'm about to be 33 this weekend. And, you get older, you just start being like, man, I wish there wasn't this many bands on the show.
It's true. Even as a concert goer, it's exhausting.
It's exhausting. And a lot of my friends, all my friends were all in the same world. So they're even like, I wish there was 3 bands playing, or something like that. So I just wanted this.
Or some hammocks in between.
This to be something, especially with it happening in March, April. I don't know. It's a very busy time. There's other tours going on, like the Decibel Metal Tour, which is sick. There's a bunch of others. I can't even think, Origin, Beneath the Massacre, all that stuff. So I just didn't want I don't know, 6 bands was just overdone. Maybe we will do that next year, for all I know. We might do 6 bands again.
That'll be
the boarded year, we did 7.
I think the Cryptopsy year there was
it
6 or 7?
I have it on my wall. It was 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. Yeah.
But I made lots of friends, and I'm stoked to see some of them this Saturday.
Yeah.
I'm hanging out with Visceral Disgorge.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, Ingested.
The boys.
That's right. Yeah, I know the boys. They're back.
So it was almost like back in the day that you wanted to put so many bands. It was like going to a Chinese buffet.
Yeah.
So kids back in the day wanted to get their money's worth. They could see this many bands and put that many notches on their pole.
Yeah.
That they saw this many bands. I don't know if that's what the mindset was, or it was just trying to compete and be as brutal as everyone else.
That's what I think it was. It was just like, oh, well, let's just put another band on this. It'll make it look bigger.
Yeah.
It just make it look more stacked. But I don't think that's the case anymore. I mean, even Summer Slaughter last year, 2019, wasn't it? What did they do? 6 bands? Yeah.
I think it's absolutely fine. And locals. Are we going to have locals on this?
There's a few dates. There's like one local on a few different dates. It's more so like kind of like the not even so LA. We put a local on it, but no more than one.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, and I was like, yo, listen, we do 20 minutes, and that's all. Like,
there is lots of cool stuff coming up that I've been doing on my side for this as a sponsor. I'm stoked to announce this right now. Vox&Hops is organizing either it's a pre-show party, an after-show party, but sadly it's only happening right now in Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal, and Quebec City. I have events that are being organized. For each of the events, there is a Devastation brew that is being brewed, and I am super blown away by the amount of people that have gone out of their way to help me out make this happen. Everybody has welcomed it with open arms. So in Vancouver, you can go to Jackalob's Dive Bar before the show. It's a Saturday, March 21st. You can go there and you can drink a black Pilsner called Devastation, which has been brewed by Kevin Ems, who works for Granville Island Brewing, and he's doing this on his own, a home brew, to provide it for the party because he's just such a fucking cool dude.
Damn, a home brew.
In Toronto, my boys at Henderson Brewing, the Vox&Hops Metal Brewer Talks alumni, are going to be hosting an after party. Now, this sucker you're going to have to RSVP to because it is extremely exclusive and limited. Hypothetically, might be selling tickets to it, but at this point, I'm probably not going to. But you might have to RSVP, and if you don't, then you can't come in. This is going to happen after the show at Henderson Brewing, and they are brewing a block lager called Devastation. They hypothetically might can it. I think they're going to. I am blown away. The first Vox&Hops can collab. Montreal, the first one that I hit up. My people at Le Saint-Boc Brasserie Artisanale, where I do a lot of my Vox&Hops interviews when I'm downtown. They are going to be brewing a black IPA called Devastation, and that's happening all day. You can go there before the show. You can go there after the show. There's going to be a special price on that brew, cheaper than the rest, just for that day for all of you Devastation on the Nation concert attendees. And in Quebec City on April 2nd at Bateau de Nuit, same situation. You can go there before the show. You can go there after the show, and you can drink some brews. They're going to be serving the Devastation. It's still up in the air what that brew is going to be, but it's going to happen, and I'm going to announce it as it's coming up. So I'm super stoked. I wanted to do something special. Me, as myself, when I'm going and I'm playing shows, I spend my afternoons in craft beer bars, and if I have an opportunity to go to an after party, I'm always disappointed when it's in some loud discotheque. I want to go drink some craft beer. I want to talk to my fellow metalheads. I want to talk to my fellow tour mates, my crew members. So that's what I wanted to organize. I've invited all of the crew members of Devastation on the Nation, all of the band members, and all of the attendees to come together. Let's hang out. Let's drink some beer. Let's talk about metal. Let's talk about our experience at Devastation on the Nation, because it's just going to be fucking awesome. I want to just go through step by step what a concert attendee can expect at Devastation on the Nation. You're going to show up, hypothetically, no local. You get slammed right away by Imperial Triumphant. Yeah. It's going to be dark. I figure that if I can imagine this, I have never seen them live, but my anticipation is going to be a lot of smoke.
Yeah, a lot of fog.
Some ominous creatures on stage.
Yeah.
Performing extremely dark and visceral music.
Yep. That is Imperial Triumphant.
It's going to feel awkward.
Yeah. Might feel uneasy. Their music.
This is something that I'm curious about, is the two cultures of black metal versus death metal, the way that this tour is like sort of split. Melodic metal, death metal.
Yeah.
The moshers of the death metal world colliding with the I stand and observe in solemn observance of the black metal world.
Yeah.
How is that going to go over?
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like this year, I think the pit will be intense during like more so like Wolfheart and Rotting Christ, but I feel like the Imperial Triumphant, it'll be more of everyone being like, holy shit.
What is happening?
What is happening? How are they playing this? They look creepy too. This is great.
I hope I text my mother.
to like, you know, Abigail Williams, they're gonna smoke up the whole entire venue, which they did on the last tour. They just did with Inferium.
Yeah, didn't they had to shut down the show?
There was something. There was too much fog, and I think the fire alarm went off, or something.
I think the fog machine wasn't working.
Yeah,
it was like a malfunction.
It was something like that.
I'm a huge fan of that new record, though, and then Abigail Williams will come in.
Yeah, Abigail.
That new record.
I think they're just going to be playing stuff from that. I don't know if Ken's going to add an old song in, but I think he's just going to play all the new stuff. That's what he usually does when he comes out with a record. And then
is Blood Music his record label?
No, Blood Music is this. I forget his name, and I'm sorry if you're listening to this. We've talked before. No, it's this guy. He's not from America or anything. I forget where he's from exactly. I can't remember off the top of my head. But he started the label a few years ago. I mean, Abigail Williams signed to Blood Music like 3 years ago. It's funny. It was in my Facebook memories the other day. It's like, you know, I reposted it, you know. And I was like, wow, it's 3 years ago. And it took him 3 years to come out with this record.
No, it was well worth the wait because it's a masterpiece. It was in my top 10.
Yeah, same.
Of the last year, I really, really enjoyed it. And the more that I listened to it, I was like, I have to include this into my top 10.
Yeah.
Because it's just, there's too many good songs.
Yeah, I think every song's great. He wrote an amazing record, and it was definitely worth the wait. And the production was great, too.
I agree.
Yeah, way better than...
So I'm going to be stoked to see that.
Yep.
He's got a great live lineup. His bandmates are incredible.
Yeah, he has good players.
The crazy little drummer kid.
Oh, yeah, Bryce.
On every tour.
Every band.
Love that kid.
Yeah, he's the man.
And Vance on guitar, I think.
Yeah, Vance is going to be on guitar again. He's going to do that tour. And he's also going to do all our media for us, all the pictures and videos for the tour like he did last year.
Which is fantastic. Shout out to both you guys, Bryce and Vance.
They're great.
Stoked to hang again. Then you mentioned Wolfheart's going to come up with a more melodic death metal.
Yeah, I feel like that's more their style. They're great, so I feel like that's when everyone get a little loosen up and maybe enjoy themselves in the pit. Borknagar is going to be...
That's when you're allowed.
Yeah, that's when you're like allowed. That's when I feel like that's when everyone will start getting in there. And then...
I don't know. Abigail Williams has got some really, as Jamie Josta would say, hard parts, you know?
They do. It'll probably happen. I mean, I just don't see it being as intense as last year's, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I think definitely Rotting Christ is going to have... I feel like everyone's been waiting to see that. It's been years since everyone saw them.
But not as much as Borknagar.
Not as much as Borknagar. I'm still...
Borknagar is going to bring that happy, joyous, yet metal
I feel like everyone's going to really
vibe.
start
It's going to be great. There's going to be some smiles for sure, which is really going to work. Yeah.
I feel like everyone's going to drink through a lot more beer during their set.
Which is good for all the club owners.
Exactly.
They're going to enjoy that.
Yeah, they'll enjoy that.
Hopefully it's craft beer they're drinking.
Mm-hmm. Not an oatmeal stout. That's too heavy for a show.
Oh, you never know. It depends on the person, you know? Sometimes, you know, you just when in doubt.
When in doubt.
One more stout. For everyone who doesn't know, I have a T-shirt with a back quote called "When in doubt, one more stout." Hence the 2 times bringing it up. I'm stoked about Borknagar, my bassist, Ollie Pinard from Cryptopsy and Cattle Decapitation and Acurian and every other band that needs a bassist out there. Absolutely loves them. He's a huge fan. He actually turned me on to them a few years ago. I remember not this record that just came out, the one before came out while we were on tour in Mexico, and I sincerely enjoyed it on those long drives in those vans on those Mexican streets.
Oh, yeah.
So the melodies are great. The hooks are great. I'm stoked to see it live. And first time back in North America, I definitely want to know why it took this long. I think that everybody wants to. It's going to be awesome. I'm super stoked.
Yeah, same here. It's definitely going to be an experience.
Finishing out with the Greek black metal masters.
Mm-hmm. Rotting Christ.
Rotting Christ. It's going to be awesome. I love their artwork on all of their stuff. Very dark. The imagery is amazing. I'm stoked to see what they have on their stage.
Yeah.
I'm stoked to see what they bring. As a headliner nowadays, you sort of got to step up the game.
You do.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they're going to bring. They haven't told me anything yet. Bryce might know. He handles more of the logistics and all that stuff. And then he just tells me about it all later on. Last time I saw Ronnie Christ was they were supposed to do a tour with Marduk. Is that how you pronounce it? Or Marduk? Marduk. I say Marduk.
Depends where you're from. You're from Texas, so you say everything.
Yeah. But they were supposed to be headlining it, and they had a drop. I think it was some visa stuff. The usual bullshit.
That's true, because when you announced the lineup, people
about Ronnie Christ.
Yes, we're saying
Yeah, because they had some issues with getting here for Psycho Las Vegas last year. That's why they didn't play it. But it's all taken care of. They've all told me. Their label told me. Same with Borknagar. Their stuff is all approved. They expedited it. They were not playing games. Wolfheart.
I'm absolutely fed up with that shit. The whole.
Oh my god.
You as a booker must just be.
I did I had like 15, 16, I don't know, 17 bands last year have to get visas. I mean, 70% of our roster is like European. But they're all great bands, so I guess it's worth the stress and the work, I guess. But yeah, so everyone's set, so no worries there, thankfully. Yeah, it's just gonna be. I feel like it's gonna be a good year all around. Everyone's happy about it.
St. Vitus sold out immediately.
That was expected. Everyone's
of course.
That's where we got the most hate. We didn't get any real hate when we announced the lineup or anything. Everyone was stoked about the lineup, as far as I saw. But it was when St. Vitus sold out.
Of course it did. It just sold out like in a day, no?
So we were gonna try to do back-to-back shows there, but
that's sick.
Yeah, but that would have taken out Quebec City.
Not sick.
Yeah, I didn't want to take. I don't know. Everything we send there does great for the most part.
Especially this black and melodic death vibe there. It's going to do amazing.
Yeah, Devastation did like 550 there last year. Maybe a little bit more than that. I can't remember. So I didn't want to take that out. But yeah, so when St. Vitus sold out, that's when everyone was like, "Are you serious?" Because it's a 250 cap room.
It's a great room. It
is. I love that place. It's like one of my favorite venues to go to. I love their bar. I just like the place overall.
What do you think the next show to sell out is going to be? Where should people be buying tickets if they haven't already?
Los Angeles, Chicago, Portland. Oh, and Berkeley.
Awesome.
Berkeley, California, which we're doing. That's the first date of the tour at Cornerstone. It's a great place. Have you ever been to Cornerstone?
I have not. I've never been to Berkeley, actually.
You would love it.
They probably got good craft beer.
They do. And good food. I mean, the place is great. It's like a 500 capacity.
Wow.
And then it's attached to like they have a big bar. They have great food, a lot of seating, a big bar, dude. Fit probably like 30, 40 people, a lot of tables, a lot of rooms. So it's a great place. So we want
What is like a white whale band that you've always thought about having on Devastation that you haven't had yet?
I really want Black Dahlia Murder.
Okay, hence you mentioned them before.
But bigger, really want Lamb of God.
Ooh, wow,
I mean,
that's huge.
That's just like up there. I mean, who knows if that'll ever happen? Every year you want to aim higher. I guess that was my mentality after last year. But then it was like, let's just be reasonable here. Let's just, let's see if we can get Black Dahlia or something like that. But if not, let's, find something just as big as like Dark Funeral in Belphegor was. And I think we did it. We did it with this lineup.
As long as you're consistent and you can slightly grow, that comes with the maturity of not trying to shoot to the stars right away.
Exactly.
Because if you can afford a headliner, you might not be able to afford a package beneath it.
Exactly. That's
to support it.
Yeah. No, you're right. And we just want to try to be consistent with it, and just even if it stays at this level for however long we do it, I'm fine with that. I'm content.
I think you're doing good things. That's why I'm a sponsor, and I believe in what you're doing.
Thank you. Yeah.
You and I together, we have curated the Vox&Hops spotlight on Devastation on the Nation playlist.
Yes.
Basically, what I wanted this to be, and I hit you up about it, would be to set up a playlist. It's going to be on Spotify and on iTunes. The link is going to be available in the description of this podcast and all on my social medias, and I'm sure on Devastation on the Nations as well. It is basically, when you go to this concert, these are the songs. If you do not know the bands, you should check them out before you go there so you're ready for the experience.
Yes.
It's going to be their best hits, what they play live, some stuff to get acquainted with the bands if you're a fan of the band. And I've missed some of the songs. Please send it my way, and I'll adjust the playlist accordingly. Me and Dan want to thank you all in advance for coming to the tour. If you don't come to the tour, it's your fault because you're missing out on a sick, epic party. Devastation on the Nation 2020 is not to be missed. There's a lot of competition, but, you're only young once, and you should go to all these shows.
Yes, as much as you can.
There's Sepultura out there that time.
Yeah, there is.
There's Devastation, Origin, My Boys and Beneath the Massacre, with Defeated Sanity. What a sick-ass lineup that is. The Decibel Metal Tour.
Yeah,
So
Mayhem.
Cool featuring Mayhem. Yes.
Yeah.
Jesus, yeah.
I know. It's crazy.
But,
a lot of stuff.
You're only young once. And as I said when I did my intros, when I announced these tour dates, anyone that's bitching about the tour not coming to their town, you get into your car with your metalhead brothers, your metalhead sisters, and you drive to the closest town. Because as musicians, drive countless hours to come play to you.
Yeah, man.
And there's a lot of logistics. There's a lot of stuff that goes into organizing a tour that you do not understand, such as competition with other tours, availability of venues, availabilities of the artists, which means that you have to move your tour to a different time. So before you bitch, get in the car, come to the show.
Yeah, find friends to go to the show with.
Yeah, and bring some craft beer, and you give it to the bands.
That's it. I used to travel so much for shows when I was younger. I still do sometimes.
You have to.
Yeah. Whatever. I like driving, so that's me.
And if you live in Vancouver, if you live in Toronto, if you live in Montreal, you live in Quebec City, you come out to these parties, the Vox&Hops.
Please.
Craft beer parties, Devastation on the Nation, craft beer parties.
First time.
Come drink some craft beer. It's going to be fucking amazing.
Yeah, be a part of it.
Dan, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Sitting down with me, drinking craft beer.
Yes.
Across the globe together, almost across the country together.
Almost.
Enjoying our presence together without being together while drinking craft beer. Cheers, brother.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cling.
Cling.
Hey, thank you all so much for listening right to the end. That's right. There's a whole bunch of crazy shit going on with Devastation on the Nation. Just to recap, in case you missed some of it, there are some Vox&Hops craft beer parties happening. Either they are pre-parties, or they are after parties, or they are all-day parties. But the important thing to remember is that it's going to be a bunch of metalheads, the crew members of Devastation on the Nation, the bands from Devastation on the Nation. You are all invited to come out to talk about metal, to talk about your Devastation on the Nation experience, and to drink some sick craft brews. And all of this has been organized by yours truly, the Vox&Hops podcast. This is happening in Vancouver at Jackalob's Dive Bar on March 21st. This one's a pre-party. You should get out there. You should drink some craft beer. You should give a big high five to Kevin Ems for brewing the beer for us. Shout out, cheers, Kevin. The next one happens on March 31st. This is an after party in Toronto at Henderson Brewing Company. Huge shout out to Jamie Morris, the Vox&Hops alumni, for hooking this one up for me. Much love, much respect. And there may just be the very first Vox&Hops Devastation canned beer. I'm super stoked about this. On April 1st in Montreal, my hometown, at Le Saint-Boc Brasserie Artisanale. It is an all-day craft beer party. You show up there before the show, you eat some supper there, you drink some beers, you show up after the show, after party. I'm going to be there. I can't wait to see all of you. You're going to drink that Devastation, the black IPA. It's going to be delicious. And then on April 2nd, another all-day craft beer party at Bateau de Nuit in Quebec City. It's going to be sick. You show up before the show, grab some pints, and then you show up after the show to close out your night, craft beer style. Just to reiterate, it is all of you, Devastation of the Nation, tour attendees. the crew of the Devastation on the Nation, and the bands which are invited to this. You should all come out, congregate together, talk about metal, talk about craft beer, talk about your lives. That's exactly what Vox&Hops is all about. I'm so proud to have created these events, to create moments to bring people together. I have created Facebook events for each of these craft beer parties. All of the details are there. If you're going to come out, please let me know via the Facebook events. The links to all of those are available in the description of this podcast, and there's also a page on Metal Festival Tours where you can get all of the info as well. Dan and myself have also curated the Vox&Hops Spotlight on Devastation on the Nation playlists. There is an Apple Music one. There is a Spotify one, featuring songs from all of the bands playing this year's Devastation on the Nation. If you're planning on coming to the show and you're not acquainted with all of the bands, this is where you should start. You go through this and you will see what songs I expect these bands to play live. And if I've missed any of them and you know better than I, because nobody is perfect, please send me a message so that I can add them to the playlist, because I want this to be as accurate as possible. The Vox&Hops Spotlight on Devastation on the Nation playlists. You should check them out on Apple Music, on Spotify. They're fucking ragers. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Mine is going to be a little bit more quiet than last weekend's. Last weekend's was pretty intense, but with all good things comes balance. Remember to enjoy life, metal, and craft beer. Cheers, Vox&Hops heads.